It's time to register to play our live interactive game shows. Call 800-537-GAME now. It's fast, it's fun, and it's free. You only
Stay tuned as the To Tell the Truth 40th Anniversary special presentation continues. Only on Game Show Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gary Moore.
Thank you very much. Fantastic. Good evening. Welcome to our show. Our first guest today has come up with a totally new concept in daytime and nighttime relaxation. And we'll meet this trailblazing fellow in just a moment, right after we've met our panel here on To Tell the Truth. Marvelous. Good heavens. Why, it's Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice. Now, friends, you may not believe this, but the mattress on which they're lying is stuffed with, guess what? It's stuffed with 180 gallons of water. A wild sensation. Let's greet the panel. Hey there, friends. Bill Cullen. That's a wild thing. Peggy Cash. Orson Bean and Kitty Carlisle. You know, I'm the only one that hadn't tried that. How's it feel?
Good.
Very strange.
Good.
I love it.
Good strange or strange strange?
Good strange.
Yeah.
It's like rolling around on a mountain of overripe kumquats.
Nobody
It
got,
felt good.
nobody got seasick, huh?
Oh, no.
I'll have to give it a whirl after the show. Right now, let's meet the man responsible for this new way of storing water, I guess.
Number one. What is your name, please?
My name is Jeff Martin.
Number two.
My name is Jeff Martin.
Number three.
My name is Jeff Martin.
And, of course, only one of these imaginative fellows can indeed be Jeff Martin. Here is his amazing affidavit. I, Jeff Martin, in association with Kai Clem, have revolutionized a standard household item, the bed. We have done this by combining the element water with the institution of sleep. We put water inside the mattress. We call our bed of water a sensorium. The sensorium enables the user to experience a sensation similar to that of floating on a cloud, and it's simply great to be on for relaxation. To those of you who may be skeptical as to whether my mattress really holds water, let me add that it is made of durable vinyl, which makes it impervious to the slings and arrows of outrageous behavior. A thermostat regulates the water's temperature, and colored lights delightfully illuminate the sensual environment. We are pleased to announce that our sensorium bed is currently being slept on by such discriminating clients as painter Salvador Dali, rock artist Richie Havens, and pool shark Minnesota Fats. Signed, Jeff Martin. Now, before we find out which one is the inventor of this pink cloud, let's get down to solid brass tacks. Here we go.
You've probably noticed all of the commercials about yeast infection treatment. Here's something different. Semstat 3. It's the only 3-day treatment that comes in the comfortable cream form most women prefer. There is no better cure without a prescription.
The Money Store, where America goes for money, is one of the sponsors of Race for the Numbers, the interactive game between game shows, weeknights during prime time, here on Game Show Network.
So you've chosen to be your own boss. Running your own business means doing what you love, doing what you do best, except one thing you don't love one bit, doing the books. Well, now you can say goodbye to your bookkeeping hassles forever, because the makers of Quicken have invented QuickBooks, the #1 selling accounting software that makes it fast and easy to do the things you don't love doing, like paying bills, writing invoices, figuring out what your customers owe, even tracking inventory and doing payroll. QuickBooks makes it all hassle-free. How's this for fast information? A click, and QuickBooks shows you this quarter's income and expenses. And look, a few keystrokes, and QuickBooks does your invoicing for you, and then does the bookkeeping automatically. so you can get back to doing what you do best, growing your business. It's even easy to try QuickBooks. Call now to get a trial version absolutely free through this special limited-time TV offer.
That number is 1-800-219-5577.
With Singer technology and your own creative touch, you can sew it all. Singer, America's favorite sewing machines. From low-cost beginner models to the most advanced, all at surprisingly affordable prices. Discover the Quantum XL100, the most user-friendly sewing and embroidery machine. From Singer, your family company. Now, the Magic Steam Press from Singer. It's portable, easy to use, and gives you professional-looking results while saving time and money. From Singer, your family company.
The greatest stars in television history appear on Game Show Network.
What will you enter, Mystery Challenger, and sign in, please? Mr. Hackett.
Are you a singer?
Professionally?
Yeah, professionally.
No.
Have you been in New York in a nightclub or in a hotel room this season?
Professionally.
Professionally, yeah.
See your favorite stars on Game Show Network.
Incredible as it may seem, each of these gentlemen claim to be Jeff Martin, creator of a bed of water called a sensorium. We'll start the questioning from with a man whose life is a constant bed of roses.
Yes.
Mr. Bean.
Thank you.
Orson.
Number 2, how did you dream up the idea for this after smoking a summer squash or something? How did a thing like this occur to you?
Well, I have a duffel bag filled with ideas. Whenever I need one, I reach in there and I pull it out, and that's where I got this one.
Number 3, tell me some of the other strange ideas that have occurred to you in your young life.
Well, it really came from a party when a group of us were together, and...
How large a group, number 3? You can tell me. No one's listening.
It was about 12 people.
12 people? Mercy, Bill. Mercy. Go on, number 3, in your own words.
It was just a matter of sitting around and finding a comfortable place, and the discussions got quite heavy into psychic things or matters of the psyche.
Yeah, well, now, number 1, do you agree so far with what 2 and 3 have said, basically?
No.
How many people were looking for a place to sit down in your group?
Kai and I got
I'll keep
together.
telling you pick out the ones you like. What?
Kai and I got together at Cornell University on a project of mass and the movement with fluids. And we were moving these large concrete pillars that needed not being chipped.
Oh, you mean like a way of moving granite blocks or something? You
Right,
mean?
and now it's being used.
Okay, thank you, Orson. Let's go to Kitty.
Go ahead, number 1. Now it's being used what?
It's being used down in the Cape in moving a lot of these high density gases.
Number 2, would this be contraindicated if you had a bad back, such a soft mattress?
Well, I really don't think so.
You don't. And number 3, does this idea have anything to do, in your opinion, with the fact that it's sort of like back to the womb, that you're, in the fluid, and it makes you comfortable and loved and cherished and whatever?
No. It does? Oh, wait a minute, I'll get my hat and go with you.
Do you feel that way about it? Answer me.
Partly yes, but
Partly
that's
yes.
not the sole
Okay.
purpose.
Number 1, when it's delivered, is it full, or do you empty it? Is it empty
comes
and
flat.
It comes flat
With
and
a
it's
hose
filled
attachment.
up with a hose attachment.
Right. Hook it up to your local sink and turn it on.
So you can have it as soft or as hard as you want.
Correct.
I got it.
Thank you, Kitty. Let's get to Bill.
Well, now, number 3, you naturally have it delivered empty, so it doesn't weigh much. But when it's full of 180 gallons of water, number 3, what's the total weight of it?
I really don't know. I don't think we've ever... It actually can weigh anywhere from... You can use 180 to 200 gallons of water in it, and I don't know what the weight would be.
Number 2, when you use 200 gallons of water, does it undulate less than it's doing now? Look at it go over there, for heaven's sake.
No, as you add water, it tightens up the tension on it. There's more water, the less space for it to undulate.
And it stops bouncing up and down and stuff like that. If you want to move it, number 1, the simple matter is to drain it.
Correct.
Get a long hose or something like that and drain it into a sink.
You can use it by gravity or by a force feed pump.
Number 1, how about getting sheets for a bed like that?
Well, here we just use the typical king-size sheet that you can buy in any local store.
Number 3.
The best way to empty it is to fill it with beer and invite several thirsty friends.
Yes.
Come to the emptying. Yes. Peggy?
Number 3, how often do you have to make the bed? I mean, change the water.
There's no requirement as to that. It could stay in as long as you wish it to.
But wouldn't it get nasty, like a stagnant pool?
Not really, because it's an airtight situation, and though it is recommended that you do change it at periodic intervals, but it isn't necessary.
But number one, wouldn't it be great for a boat? You could let the water out in the morning and get the salt water in at night, and then you could just have a lot of space in there, just these little things.
Well, you'd be filling your mattress a hell of a lot of time. I mean,
But we'd all sleep on single beds, and everyone would have to fill their own. Would it take salt water?
Yes, it will.
Number two, why is it hot? When I was on there, it was like being in like a hot water bottle. I wouldn't want that all night.
Well, there's a heating element in it.
Oh, who wants to sleep on a hot bed? Number three, would you want to sleep on a hot bed? Unless you had arthritis or something.
Well, the water can be regulated, but I would assume the heat was from the television lamps.
Well, number one, supposing you like the cold bed, you could really
Okay, Peg, I'm sorry. There are lots of questions that could be asked. We better forge ahead. Let's make up our minds and vote. Do we vote for one? Or we vote for two? Or we vote for three? The price of failure is $50 per wrong guess, $500 if all the guesses are wrong. And Orson, I'm afraid you have to commence.
I just did some lightning calculations with the new math here. This bed would weigh over 3/4 of a ton. Thank you.
Okay. Fantastic. Wait, one vote for number three. There you go. And the Kitty Carlisle, please.
Well, I believe number one, but I didn't believe he was telling it straight about how they move great, whatever it is, at Canaveral. And number two said he got his ideas out of a big duffel bag. And I don't think that's true either. And so I voted for number three.
All right, so far there's 2 for 3. And what is, Bill, you look bemused.
Yeah, I remember reading about when they move these preformed concrete parts of buildings that they do cushion it with water, so I believe number one. But beyond that, number three has a kind of a look about him. He looks like a fellow who would invent this kind of bed. I wouldn't put anything past number three.
Has a touch of half Edison, half Hugh Hefner.
Exactly. That's a
happy combination. Peggy?
I read in some magazine how Bernie Kornfeld slept on one of those beds at Hugh Hefner's. I voted for number one because he said about the gas cylinders and Kai and I and Cornell. It all sounded very hip to me.
All right, the votes are all in. Which one is it? What do you think? Well, the real Jeff Martin. Please stand up. Lightly tight. Thank you, Jeff. Number one, you got one wrong vote. Did very well. What is your name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Paul Marcus. I'm Director of Advertising and Athlete Recruitment for Pro Sports Incorporated.
Nice to have you there. And number three, you really cost us money. Great. Number three, you got 3 wrong votes. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
I'm Gerald Rothberg, and I'm the publisher of Circus, which is the rock and roll youth-oriented magazine.
And, of course, between the 3 of them there, they outfoxed us, and they cost us $500, which is the total of all the wrong guesses. And thank you very, very much for being here with us on the... What? Oh, 45-second interview. All right, Jeff, how have you been?
Very well, thanks, Gary.
How's your father?
You didn't really get out of your duffel bag.
Your mother well?
Yes, she's pretty good, too.
30 seconds interview.
No, the duffel bag.
The duffel bag is the truth.
Is that the truth?
This is to tell the truth. I wouldn't lie.
All right.
Now? Okay, Jeff, thanks very much. It's been fascinating talking to you here on To Tell the Truth. Thank you. Brought me with my interview down. I'm sorry. Well, now, our next guest is a very determined lady crusader. She fought City Hall, and furthermore, she won. We'll meet her in a moment right after we have a few words from the people who pay the rent.
If you have wrinkles and puffiness under your eyes...
This house... Stressed out? Want some excitement and adventure in your life? Then order America's fastest-growing magazine and start $13.50. And you'll get this free adventure travel video.
Call now at 1-800-932-4000 and make the most of your next adventure by ordering Adventure West magazine today. Call 1-800-932-4000.
Now let's meet our fighting lady who did fight City Hall.
Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Linda Grover.
Number 2.
My name is Linda Grover.
Number 3.
My name is Linda Grover.
Hey, this is a tough choice. All right, here is Linda Grover's story. I, Linda Grover, along with my husband, spent 12 months looking for an apartment big enough for our expanding family and cheap enough for us to afford. Shortly after we moved in, we were informed that our apartment building was slated for demolition. We tenants decided that our home was worth fighting for. We began our campaign by inviting the housing board and assorted newsmen to a progressive supper, starting with drinks on the first floor and soup on the second, all the way up to dessert on the 6th and coffee on the 7th. After months of phone calls, pleading, and filling out of forms, we were told our apartment could be saved only if we would buy it as a cooperative and only if we undertook to renovate the building completely. During renovation, we lived part of the time without heat, most of the time without plumbing, and some of the time without walls between our apartments. I have written a book about our adventures. It is called The Housekeepers. Signed, Linda Grover. Now, Bill Cullen, you got any ideas?
Yeah, number 2, now that all this has taken place, have you finally settled in? Do you now have the apartment the way you want it to be?
Almost. We have light, we have air, we have room, and now we fight among ourselves.
Number 1, in order to make this a cooperative, you needed other people. How many tenants do you have altogether, including yourselves?
Including ourselves, we have 20 apartments, 20 tenants, 20 people on the cooperative.
Number 3, how big a mortgage do you have on this?
We have about $400,000 mortgage, $391,000.
Among 20, do you have 20-some people, too?
Yes.
Number 2, don't you have to get a cooperative apartment? Doesn't that have to be approved by the district attorney's office?
It's a long process. Once the building was condemned, it had to be sold by court order. Then you have to be approved. We had to get it out of the clutches of the urban development people. Then the mortgage had to be backed by the FHA, and the feds are a whole separate thing.
Wow.
Sounds like a great idea for a TV series. Yeah. Let's go down to Peggy.
Number 3, where is this dream house?
Well, it's Upper West Side. My publisher would rather I let my neighbors have their privacy.
Thank you. Number 1, why was it necessary for you to renovate it?
That was part of the urban renewal project.
They wouldn't let you have it unless you fixed it up?
Well, there were some violations on it, and it was taken over in order to make the neighborhood a little better than it was, so they thought that if we had any reason at all for keeping the house the way, the structure the way it was, we had to do something with it to make it a little better.
Number 2, how much does your apartment cost, unless that's being rude? It's being rude. Number 2, how much? What's the maintenance?
They're libel laws.
Is it there's no libel laws.
Part of our whole struggle was to keep the maintenance to $25 a room so that a mixture of people can live together.
I see. Now, number 3, are all the original tenants, did they buy their apartments, or did they get out and you sold it to new people?
Well, by the time we had bought City Hall and won, we had only 13 of our original 20 left, but the rest of the city of New York tried to move in.
Number 1, are you on the board?
Yes, you mean the board of the city of New York?
No, the board of the admissions board for your apartment building.
Yes, I'm...
Thanks, Peggy. Orson?
I know Linda's husband, Stanley, but I don't know Linda. I was sent an advance copy of the book, finally got around to reading it, and it's a scream. It really is a scream, The Housekeeper. Number 3, what's the worst thing about... I can see what the good things are. Is there anything bad about having a cooperative like that?
Well, we have to live very close together, and sometimes we fight, but maybe it makes for some human growth. Maybe it makes us better people.
Yeah. Well, number 1, how close are you? You each have your own apartment finally, now that it's finished, don't you?
Well, now that it's finally finished, but originally when we had to do the renovations, none of us had any other place to go, so we had to live in the apartment house while the renovations were going on.
Well, number 3,
did you... we sort of all lived like a very big, kind of communal family.
Yeah. Well, number 2, number 1, within reason, right? Number 2, do you have a communal kitchen or anything like that?
During the renovation?
You did?
No.
No?
Well, we didn't have...
You don't now, do
Nobody
you?
had a kitchen. We'd use whoever had a kitchen. If we had stoves in the kitchen, that is.
I see.
Thanks, Orson, and that takes us to Kitty.
Well, it sounds terribly grim, number 3. It says you live most of the time without plumbing and no walls. I mean, really, what did you all do?
Well, you answered each other's telephones when they rang, for one thing. You couldn't have fights with your husband, for another.
I see. Well, that's rather good. Number 2, how long did this whole process take?
From beginning to end, nearly 7 years.
Oh, my
Believe
God.
it or not.
7 years.
And 3 administrations.
Good heavens. Number 1, what does your husband do?
He's an actor and a singer.
Uh-huh. And number 2, I think number 1 said that they were going to do an urban renewal, but number 3 said they were going to really demolish the building. Number 2, why were they going to demolish the building, or if they were?
Because they were going to, in the urban renewal planning, they take a certain geographic area
and
they
just knock them down.
Right.
I
And we
see.
were going to be an airway for a luxury apartment.
I see. Number 3, who's your publisher?
Harper and Row.
Thank you. And number 1, how many children do you have?
2.
How many
One during the renovation.
Oh,
mercy.
Number 2, how many children in the building?
That's what working without walls will do for you every time. I'll tell you, that's all the time we have to be inquisitive. We must now make a statement as to who it is. We state that it's number 1, or that it's number 2, or that it is number 3. $50 for each wrong vote, $500 in the event that they're all wrong, and Bill Cullen starts.
Well, this hasn't been a good voting week for me anyway, but I was all set to vote for somebody else until number 2 said that they had a child during the renovation, and I think that's very sporting, and for that reason, number 1 has my, without walls, that's not easy. Number 1 has my vote.
That's 1 vote for good sportsmanship, and we go to Peggy.
Well, I voted for her because she's married to an actor-singer, and she looks as though she's in show business, so I voted for number 1.
So, 2 for 1. And Orson?
I voted for number 3. She looks bright. She has the eyes of an author. And,
Why has she got an Indian headdress?
I don't know, communal living, share the wigwam, that sort of thing. It's the best I could come up with. You never call attention to my good ones.
Hang in there, Orson. Kitty, what do you want to do?
I'm going to vote for number 1. I think she has the courage and the stamina and the kindly look in her eye that would enable her to live that way for a principle.
Boy, it's a good thing I'm not on the panel. I'd have gone for number 2. Let's find out about this. Will, I may be wrong. I never know. Will the real Linda Grover please stand up? Hey! Thank you, Linda. We'll check out your chums here in just a minute. Number 1, you got 3 wrong votes. What is your real name, please, and what do you do?
My name is Phyllis Kasha, and I cast TV and radio commercials for Delahanty, Turnit, and Geller Advertising.
Number 2, you got my vote for all the good, did you? Sorry about that. What is your real
Thank you
name?
for that. My name is Ilyana Lannon. I'm Executive Associate of the Association for the Aid of Crippled Children.
Linda, aside from the fact that you got a very charming book out of this, would you go through that again?
Well, there are a lot of things in life we might not go through if we knew at the time what it was going to entail. Yes, I would.
Uh-huh.
I would.
I should have thought you all would have ended up being mortal enemies by the end of it. Was she right that it took 7 years?
It took 7 years out of our lives, yes.
Now, was she also right in saying that 7 of the original people defected?
Well, have you ever lived under city management with city plumbers and city electricians coming in and tinkering with your stoves and your pipes? It's kind of hopeless, and they were kind of cold. They moved out because
It just got to be too much, huh?
No elevator, no heat. It was...
Sounds like the normal New York apartment building, doesn't it?
Yep.
Linda, thank you very much, and friends, for being with us here today on To Tell the Truth.
There's an
This holiday. Greatest stars in movie history appear on Game Show Network.
Will you come in?
Show Network.
Maybe tomorrow. Panel, are you willing?
Yes.
We'll take another try. Why not?
Promotional consideration provided by American Airlines. Traveling on business or traveling for fun, it's good to know you're on American Airlines. I never know why you come. This is Johnny Olson speaking for To Tell the Truth. A Mark Goodson, Bill Cotton production. Thank you.